Good morning, students. You have studied about the derivatives or the differential calculus in the earlier session. We have discussed about the derivatives of different types of function, starting with the composite function, for which we make use of the chain rule, and then we learnt about the derivatives of the inverse trigonometric function. Then you learnt about the logarithmic differentiation, and afterwards implicit function. What do you mean by an implicit function? How to find the derivative, and then finally we learnt about the parametric function. So you know to find the derivative of any type of function that will be given to you, and then you learnt about the second derivative also. Now we know how to find the derivative. Now, where exactly we can make use of the knowledge of derivative, that is what we are going to study in this particular chapter, which is known as application of the derivatives. That means, where exactly you can apply the knowledge of derivatives, where exactly it comes to our hand to find the value of some other thing. So, we are studying about the application here, in whichever field it is applicable, and what exactly is the meaning. So, the first topic here is the geometrical meaning. You know how to find dy by dx, but what exactly dy by dx gives you? What is the meaning of that one? So, here in two different ways we make use of this one. The first one, we learn about the geometrical meaning of that one. What exactly is geometrically we can meaning of this dy by dx. Now, the next one is, we come to that in the later sessions, in which other context we can make use of dy by dx, what exactly is the meaning. So, at present I am studying about the geometrical meaning. After learning about the geometrical meaning, we are studying about the tangent and the normal, because the direct application or the direct and the geometrical meaning helps us to discuss about the equations of the tangent as well as of the normal. So, before that one we have to know the meaning of this one. So, you know how to find dy by dx, what exactly it means geometrically. For that now, what I do is, I consider a continuous curve here. Now, as usual, we draw the x and the y axis, draw the x and y axis, and then consider a continuous curve. You have learnt about the continuity, isn't it? Continuity means at a point we have discussed. Continuity at a point means it is when you find the value of the function and the limit of the function, if they are equal to each other at a point, it is called as we say the function is continuous at a point, isn't it? Now, if it is continuous at each and every point of the domain, we say it is a continuous function. So, we know the definition of continuity, continuous function. Here I am considering a continuous function. Consider a continuous function. Now, let us take this as y equal to fx. Always I consider a general function. So, consider a continuous function y is equal to fx. Now, on this one I consider 2 points, but they are supposed to be just adjacent points. That is, one point I am considering here having the coordinates say x comma y. I am taking a point P having the coordinates x comma y. Now, another point I am taking it as say Q, whose coordinates are x plus delta x comma y plus delta y. See, when I started calculus, I told you, I had given you the meaning of delta x, delta y. They are nothing but small quantities, small increases in the values of x and y respectively. Whenever we use delta x, it denotes a small quantity. So, actually here xy, x plus delta x means it is the next point, very near to the point B. But if I take it here, you find difficult to follow whatever it is. Therefore, I am just writing it a little away from that one. Now, join QP and produce it. Let it make an angle phi with the x axis. So, what I have done? I have joined QP and produced it so that it meets the x-axis making an angle phi. Now, the construction part is from P and Q, draw the perpendiculars to the x-axis. So, let me take it as say PL and QM. So, draw PL and QM perpendicular from P and Q to the x-axis. See, whenever we do any derivation, whenever we draw a figure, always we have to explain. First, what you should write? Consider a continuous function y is equal to fx. That's the first point. Take 2 points P x comma y, Q x plus delta x comma y plus delta y. Next, what I have done? Join QP, produce it to make an angle phi with the x-axis. QP is nothing but the chord of some curve I have taken. And from P and Q, I have drawn perpendiculars PL and QM to the x-axis. Then another perpendicular from P to the line QM, let me take it as R. So, here because of the line I have drawn here, you observe I got a right angle triangle QPR. When this angle is phi, what can be this angle? That is the angle QPR. You have learnt this in high school. They are called as the corresponding angles. So, this angle will also be equal to phi, isn't it? When this is phi, that will also be phi. Now, from the right angle triangle, because it is a right angle triangle, you can define any trigonometric ratios. I am considering tan of QPR. Tan of QPR is tan of phi. How do you define the tangent function? It is opposite over the adjacent side. What is the opposite side? It is QR divided by PR. Opposite over the adjacent side, QR divided by PR. Now, in this one only 2 quantities are given. One is the coordinates of P, the other one is the coordinates of Q. Now, what is QR? QR, look at the figure, it can be written as QM minus RM. So, let me write it as QM minus RM. Okay. Denominator PR can be replaced by LM because directly those quantities are not given. So, let us try to, I am trying to write these things in terms of the known quantities. You write QM as it is. Now, look at the figure. This RM can be replaced by PL. That is, write it as PL. Similarly, this LM, that is the distance is not known, you can write it as OM minus OL. Why I am writing in this particular form is, look here, P and Q whose coordinates I have considered, isn't it? And when I draw the perpendicular PL and QM, I know the values of this one. See, PL, as you know, the perpendicular distance is the y coordinate of the point P. So, this distance is equal to y. Similarly, QM is the y coordinate of this point. So, what is that I have taken? It is y plus delta y. Similarly, this distance OL is nothing but the x coordinate of the point P, and the whole distance OM is nothing but the x coordinate of the point Q. Therefore, this is x plus delta x, and this is y plus delta y, this is y. These, as soon as you draw the perpendicular, I can mark these distances in the figure. That is why, and these are all known to us because they have been given in the problem. So, that is why I have written QR and PR, which were not directly given. I have written or I have expressed that in terms of the known quantities. Now, let me write the values. See, QM according to that one is y plus delta y. Now, what is PL? PL is nothing but y. So, minus y divided by OM means it is x plus delta x minus x. Now, x and y, they get cancelled. Finally, I can consider this as, it is tan phi can be written as delta y divided by delta x. Now, take this as result 1. Now, I wanted this result, that is tan phi equal to uh, delta x by delta y. For that I did all this calculation, that is considering two adjacent points, though I have written a little away from that one, joining that one, that is I get a chord that has been produced to make an angle phi with the x axis, and then from the points P and Q I have drawn the perpendiculars to the x axis, and from the point P another perpendicular to QM, so that I get a right angle triangle. Now, because of the perpendiculars drawn, I can mark these distances because they are nothing but the coordinates. This is the knowledge of analytical geometry which you have studied in your high school classes. From any point when you draw a perpendicular to the x-axis, the distance from the origin to the foot of the perpendicular is the x coordinate, and the length of the perpendicular is the y coordinates. It is the definition of x and y coordinates which I have used here to mark the distances. Now, considering the tan ratio in that particular triangle PQR, I got this result, tan phi equal to delta y by delta x. Now, here what next step is, this is according to the figure what I have done the calculation. Now, look here, suppose this point Q starts moving towards the point P, moving towards the point P along the curve, not along the chord here. That is, Q may come to this position, this position, this position, like that. It starts moving, suppose it starts moving towards the point P along the curve, that is, suppose the point comes here Q, then see if you draw the perpendicular like this, see originally this distance is delta x, this distance is delta x, this distance is delta y, this is y plus delta y minus y, this is delta y, x plus delta x minus x, so this is delta x, okay. This distance is delta x and this distance is delta y, and that is what we have got here, delta y by delta x. Now, here suppose the point Q starts moving towards the point P along the curve, suppose it comes to this particular position. If you draw a perpendicular, originally delta x was this much, now the delta x has become this much, that means the length of delta x is decreased, isn't it? Suppose it comes to another position, if you draw the perpendicular, you observe delta x would be still smaller. So, what I can conclude from this one, suppose the point Q starts moving along the curve towards the point P, the length of delta x goes on decreasing and decreasing. Finally, when Q coincides like this, it comes like this, like this, like this, finally it comes and coincides with the point P. The length of the chord is also decreasing and decreasing, delta x is also decreasing and decreasing. When the point Q coincides with P, there will not be any chord at all, it actually becomes a tangent at the point P. So, here do not get confused between the too many lines here. See, originally it was a chord, now like this, chord becomes like this, like this, like this, like this. Finally, when Q coincides with P, we will not have a chord, it would be a tangent because both the points are coinciding with each other. So, it becomes a tangent at the point P, let it make an angle theta. What has happened to delta x? When Q coincides with P, delta x automatically becomes 0. Because we have seen that as Q approaches the point P, that is the word we have to use, as Q approaches the point P along the curve, then the value of delta x goes on decreasing and decreasing. And how do you represent, how do you say in calculus here, we do not use the word approaches or like this, you can say as Q tends to P. You are familiar with the mathematical word we use, isn't it? When we took the limit, when we started with the study of limit here, this is the word we use, as x tends to A, y tends to B, like that we say, isn't it? So, as Q tends to P, in other words, as Q approaches P, that is the meaning, but mathematically we write like this and we say that one, as Q tends to P. What happens to delta x? It tends to 0. As Q tends to be, and what has happened? There is no chord at all, it has become a tangent. So as q tends to p, delta x tends to 0 and the angle phi is tending to angle theta. Actually we say the limiting position of a chord is a tangent. That is how we say, because when the chord becomes smaller and smaller, finally both the points coincide with each other. We will not have a chord, we will be having a tangent at a particular point. So as q tends to p, delta x tends to 0, phi tends to theta. Those are two different angles. These two angles are not equal. As phi tends to theta. Therefore, what happens here? Tan phi tends to tan theta. So this information we wanted here. Okay. As q tends to p, delta x tends to 0, phi tends to theta, tan phi tends to tan theta. Now let us come to the result 1. Tan phi we have shown that it is equal to delta y by delta x. Now here tending means we can take the limit, delta x tending to 0 means you take limits as delta x tends to 0. So when you take limit as delta x tends to 0, what has happened to tan phi here? We can see that it is tan theta. It has become tan theta. Now here right hand side you take the limit as delta x tending to 0 of delta y by delta x. See, we go to the very first lesson of differential calculus. So limit delta x tending to 0 of the ratio delta y by delta x is nothing but dy by dx. There also when I had explained, I had taken the same thing, delta x. Of course, for the formula, standard formula, delta x was replaced by h I had written, but in the before that one, no, I had considered delta x to be the small increment in the value of x. So for this concept would be clear because of the same notation I had used. So here also I am using the same notation. So when you take the limit as delta x tends to 0, in this one we denote it as dy by dx. And this information I wanted. For that I had done all these things. So to know the geometrical meaning of this one, I had considered a continuous function y equal to fx. I have taken 2 points here and I have drawn a chord here and it has been produced to meet the x-axis, making a certain angle phi here. Then making the construction, drawing the perpendicular, I got a right angle triangle, and considering the tangent ratio, tan phi is delta y by delta x, we got it afterwards. When q starts moving towards the point P along the curve, the value of delta x goes on decreasing. Finally, when q coincides with p, delta x becomes 0. So mathematically we write as q tends to p, delta x tends to 0. So instead of chord, now we have got a tangent. So that the tangent is making an angle theta. So I can write it as phi tends to theta, therefore tan phi tends to tan theta. Now substituting these things in this result that we already proved here, tan phi equal to delta y by delta x has become tan theta equal to dy by dx. Now that dy by dx has come into picture, isn't it? Now let us know what we mean by tan theta. See, again we go to analytical geometry. In first year PUC, you have studied about straight lines, isn't it? In straight lines you have studied. In that one, we have learnt a definition. What is that one? Slope of a straight line. You have learnt about slope of a straight line. For slope, there is another word called as gradient. Slope or gradient of a straight line. What do you mean by slope? How do you define that one? The slope is the tangent of the angle made by the line with the x-axis. This is the definition of the slope or gradient of a straight line. Slope or gradient of a straight line is nothing but the tangent of the angle made by the line with the x-axis. Now, of course, it is a revision, already you have learnt about this one. Now, suppose there is a line which is making an angle theta with the x-axis. Then, if you take tan theta, if you take tan of that angle, then that is called as the slope, and the standard notation is small letter m. So, this angle theta may be an acute angle or it can be an obtuse angle. So, if theta is acute, this m would be a positive quantity. If it is an acute angle, obtuse angle, it would be a negative number. Okay. So, the angle theta lies between 0 and 180. Acute means m is positive, obtuse means m is negative. So, this is the definition of the slope or the gradient which are already studied. Now, that is tan theta, wherever we consider when you are discussing about a line, tan theta always stands for the slope of that particular straight line. Look here what we have obtained, the same tan theta. And what is that theta? That is the angle made by the tangent with the x-axis, isn't it? So, when I produce, now this was the angle, and what is this line? It is nothing but the tangent here. So, tan theta, theta is the angle made by the tangent. And what does the tan theta stand for? Just now I told you that tan theta in this case is the slope of the tangent, slope of any line for that matter, but in this case it is the slope of the tangent, isn't it? We have seen that the angle theta is made by the tangent, therefore tan theta what we have obtained here, it gives you the slope of the tangent. So, the left hand side is the slope of the tangent. So, what do you mean by this one dy by dx? Dy by dx geometrically means that gives the slope of the tangent. So, here afterwards wherever we calculate the value of dy by dx, we can definitely say that it gives the slope of the tangent. So, that is the geometrical meaning of dy by dx. To know what exactly it means geometrically, we have done all these calculations. So, you know how to find dy by dx. What exactly is the meaning I have shown you here. So, dy by dx when you calculate, that gives you dy by dx is some function. Of course, at a particular point we are calculating. See, now tangent has been drawn at this point. Suppose I take this point to be equal to say x1 comma y1, then we can say dy by dx. We write like this as a subscript. We write it below like this. So, we read it like this, dy by dx at x1 comma y1. Then we get some number here. It is nothing but the slope, because we have seen that tan theta is the slope, but tan theta is dy by dx. Therefore, dy by dx gives us the slope of the tangent. If the tangent is drawn at the point x1 comma y1, then dy by dx at x1 comma y1, that is how we have to read, is equal to m. What does m stand for then? It stands for the slope of the tangent drawn at the point x1 comma y1. So, geometrically we have seen that by considering the diagram here, we have seen that it gives us the slope of the tangent. So, if a tangent is drawn at a point, here of course I have taken x comma y, if a tangent is drawn at a particular point x1 comma y1, then dy by dx at x1 comma y1 gives us the slope of the tangent. So, we know the geometrical meaning of this one by considering the diagram. Now, depending upon what we get for dy by dx, it can be a standard value, may not be a standard value. I am considering two particular cases. Now, suppose dy by dx is 0, extreme values I am considering. Suppose dy by dx is 0, let us take. Then that means that tan theta is 0, isn't it? Tan theta is 0. What do you mean by that one? Tan theta is 0 means angle theta is also equal to 0. Then how would be the tangent here? See, tan theta means it is an angle, theta means it is an angle made by the line with the x-axis, maybe a tangent or any other straight line. When theta is 0 means it would be coinciding with the x-axis, one possibility, or it may be parallel to the x-axis. Both possibilities are there. Now, if it is different point, now it is theta is equal to 0, implies that the tangent is parallel to the x-axis. This is one part. This information you have to remember because we are going to work out problems, 1 or 2 mark question in which we use this knowledge here. Sometimes now by giving the value, we may get dy by dx to be equal to 0. Then what we can conclude? We can say that the tangent is parallel to the x-axis. Or it may be given that tangent is parallel to the x-axis, you will be asked to find out the coordinates of that particular point. So, you have to have this information, that is if dy by dx equal to 0, then tan theta is equal to 0 implies theta is equal to 0. That is, the angle made by the tangent with the x-axis is 0 means one possibility it may be coinciding with x-axis, the other possibility it would be parallel to the x-axis. This is one possibility, one extreme value I am taking. Suppose tan theta dy by dx is infinity. Of course, you cannot equate it to infinity, is not a number. Wherever we get 0 in the denominator, we take it as infinity. Then tan theta infinity, and then we can write theta would be equal to 90 degrees. So, how would be the tangent in that case now? The tangent would be, it would be perpendicular to the x-axis, or you can say it is parallel to the y-axis. Both ways you can say. So, if dy by dx is 0, then tangent is parallel to the x-axis. If dy by dx is infinity, then the tangent would be perpendicular to the x-axis, or we can say parallel to the y-axis. Okay. So, this is these both the nodes now you have to, both the information you have to remember because that helps us to solve some problem. So, both the information dy by dx equal to 0 or dy by dx equal to infinity. Now, because these are the two extreme cases we will be considering. So, what we have studied now, we know the geometrical meaning. So, dy by dx, whenever you do calculate dy by dx, and if the particular point is given to us, suppose the point has gone 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, -9, whatever may be the point here, it may lie in any one of the 4 quadrants here. So, whatever may be the point given, after differentiating the function, wherever x and y are there, if you substitute the coordinates, values of the coordinates for x and y in the expression, in the derivative, we always get a real number. So, that real number is nothing but the slope of the tangent. So, generally I can say dy by dx gives the slope of the tangent. When the particular point is given, that is dy by dx at x1 comma y1. That is what I wrote already. Now, the next is, after knowing the geometrical meaning, will be our next problem. Actually, this geometrical meaning, it is only information sake I am giving. The problems will not be asked what you mean by geometrically, what is the meaning of dy by geometrically, nobody asked the question. Using this knowledge, we have to know the first application. The first application is here, the tangent and normal. First application I am going to discuss is tangents and normals. For that, you should know we should have the knowledge of this geometrical meaning of dy by dx. For that purpose, I taught you about this one. The first application is tangent and normal. For that, we will be calculating the equation of the tangent and equation of the normal. Now, just now I told you dy by dx gives you the slope of the tangent. Suppose the tangent is drawn at a particular point x1 comma y1. So, dy by dx, read it as at x1 comma y1 is the slope of the tangent at x1 comma y1. And what is the standard notation? It is small letter m. Okay. So, this always denotes the slope of the line generally. Here we are discussing about the tangent. So, it gives the slope of the tangent. So, we know the slope here, we know the point here, and what is the equation of the tangent? The equation of the tangent. Again, I go back to the first year analytical geometry. See, in that chapter straight line, you have learnt about 5 forms of the equation of a straight line. The slope intercept form, the slope point form, the 2-point form, the intercept form, and the normal form. So, given different data, 2 data would be always given. So, using them and the slope and the intercept are given, we write y equal to mx plus c. 2 points are given x1 comma y1, x2 comma y2, we call it as the 2-point form. and the slope and one point would be given, then it is y minus y1 equal to m into x minus x1, which is called as the slope point form of the equation. First one slope intercept form, y equal to mx plus c. The second one slope point form, which is y minus y1 equal to m into x minus x1. Generally, this is the one which is used in maximum problems wherever you want to find the equation of the straight line. So, the slope point form, this is the slope, this is the point, y minus y1 equal to m into x minus x1. Apart from, we have two more. One is known as the intercept form, the other one known as the normal form. At present, this would be enough for us. So, the slope is known, we have calculated because we have differentiated the function, we got the value dy by dx at the point, we have denoted that as m. So, using this slope point form of the equation of a straight line, we can get the equation of the tangent. So, problem would be for a 1 mark question, you will be expecting a problem, find the slope of the tangent. What you have to do? Just to differentiate, usual differentiation, and wherever x and y are there, write these values, whatever point has been given to you, and you get a real number that gives you the slope of the tangent. Okay. Suppose they ask you to find the equation of the tangent, use this one, point is already given, slope has been calculated, therefore, y minus y1 equal to m into x minus x1. This is about the tangent. Now, next comes the normal. What do you mean by normal? Normal, generally we say a perpendicular. Draw a normal, we say, sometimes we use that one. Now, when you are discussing about a curve, suppose this is the curve I am having, at this point a tangent has been drawn. Now, at the same point of contact, you draw you can draw infinite number of perpendiculars to this line, the tangent. Now, this line where we have drawn the perpendicular at the point of contact, we call it as the normal. And again, we know that when two lines are perpendicular, what is the condition? The product of their slopes should be equal to -1. When this is m1, this is m2, then m1 into m2 should be equal to -1. That is the condition for two perpendicular lines, isn't it? If the lines are perpendicular, the product of their slopes should be equal to -1. If they are parallel, their slopes are equal. All this information we have studied, we have got in first year PUC, all of them, because here the problem that I am going to work out, they are connected with the analytical geometry. So, you should remember all those things. So, when you differentiate the function and substitute the value, the number that we get always gives you the slope of the tangent. Okay. So, equation of the tangent can be obtained using this formula. Now, just now I told you normal is a line perpendicular to the tangent. So, when the slope of the tangent is m, I have denoted here. What can be the slope of the normal? Just now I told you tangent and normal are perpendicular and the product of their respective slopes now would be equal to -1. When this is m, this will be -1 by m. You multiply both of them, you get the product to be equal to -1. Therefore, equation of the tangent is y minus y1 equal to m into x minus x1, and then equation of the normal. What's the equation of the normal? The point is same. In the place of m, I write -1 by m into x minus x1. Okay. So, here the problem would be, for a 1 mark question, you can expect a problem like this. Find the slope of the tangent or find the slope of the normal. For a 2 mark question, you can expect find the point at which the tangent is parallel to the x-axis or parallel to the y-axis. The information I gave you, dy by dx equal to 0, it is parallel to the x-axis. Dy by dx equal to infinity, it is perpendicular to the x-axis or parallel to the y-axis. So, I can expect a 2 mark question to find the points there, and higher mark question. So, 3 mark question, you will be generally asked to find equation of the tangent and equation of the normal. First, you have to differentiate, you get the value of the slope of the tangent. Find the equation of the tangent. Take the reciprocal and change the sign, that gives the slope of the normal. Find the equation of the normal. So, these are the 3 types of problems you expect in this first application tangent and normal. To find the slope of the tangent and normal, or to find the points given some condition, and to find the equations of the tangent and the normal. So, for to know about this one, we should have known about the geometrical meaning. That is why I just taught about the geometrical meaning. So, geometrically dy by dx stands for the slope of the tangent drawn at a point to any given curve. Okay. If the point is a known point x1 y1, we write like this, dy by dx at x1 y1, that gives the slope of the tangent. So, the actual problems, even all this information you should know, otherwise you find difficult to solve the problems. In the coming sessions, I will be working in the next maybe some 2-3 sessions, I will be working out problems which are connected with the any one of the problems just now I mentioned. So, we will meet in the next session. Thank you.